All right, so let's cover two films that, one of which was supposed to be released in theaters last year, and I specifically remember bringing, this was right around the announcement of, you know, um, quarantine basically, and that would be A Quiet Place Part Two. It's the
Right.
idea that we have to push back the releases of films because cinemas are closed because of of COVID-19, right? And this was one that was highly affected
Yeah.
because of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we were supposed to get that from since like I think about March or something like that of last year.
Yeah. There's a big pushback there.
Yeah, yeah, and like we've literally gotten it about a month, afterwards, right? But we
Yeah.
had to wait for it to come out on Paramount Plus, so we finally checked it out. Well, I know in your case, you saw it before me, right? When it came out, I guess, right?
Right.
But I won't spend too much time on it, right? But basically, with me, with A Quiet Place, right, the first one, that was one that I enjoyed for the most part. I was not in total awe of it. I do love the economical vibe of it. It really does feel
Yeah.
like if because this is not John Krasinski's debut feature, right? As I thought, beforehand, right?
Okay.
But prior to before watching part two, I did rewatch A Quiet Place, and I strongly recommend rewatching A Quiet Place, right? Unless you're some diehard fan, you know every single thing about what happened, every moment where there was no sound or the little sound used or whatever it is. But yeah, it really does help if you watch the first movie, right? And watching
Yeah.
it again because I didn't even watch it. Or I haven't watched it since seeing it for the first time when it came out, right? I grew to appreciate it a lot more. Just because of how economical it was, right? It really does feel like this was like a first timer making a
Yeah.
film.
Right.
But
Exactly.
in John's case, is his first time doing horror. So it's like, all right, I'm not gonna bring in the big guns as yet, but I'm just trying out a high concept here. So work with me here, you know what I mean? We using sign language, and we're not gonna have a lot of dialogue, and gonna have these blind, aliens, but they have super sensitive hearing, so everybody
Right.
have to be quiet and all that thing. So just roll with the gimmick, just roll with the gimmick, and we guarantee you'll enjoy it. And for the most
Yeah.
part, I enjoy it. It's just I felt that there were just some deep moments, just like, okay, why would you do this? Like, like
Yeah.
famously, you know what I mean? Why would the kid have the toy rocket, even though everybody told him in sign language, don't put it on. They took
Well,
all the batteries, but
yeah.
the idiot put it back on and he
Yeah. My
died.
thing is that yeah, little things like that. They could have double or triple check. What he had on him. Whatever. It's fine.
Yeah,
Um.
it's those things, but it did keep
I.
people on the edge of your seat too. So I'll give it that.
Yeah.
But
I'd
last thing I'll
say.
say before I shut up, but like I would say yes, it is one of the best quote unquote horror films of the 2010s. I would say the most one of the most creative horror
Yeah.
films of the 2010s. But in no way would I call myself a huge fan of it. And same thing here with this movie here. So I'm not gonna say so. This thing I know one time. I'm not in absolute love with this franchise here, but I do understand and respect its place in terms of modern horror,
Right.
filmmaking. Yeah.
Right.
So, what were your thoughts on the first one?
Yeah, yeah. I dug the first one for it was again. It had a couple dope moments, mostly like stuff like wait, can they like easily distract the monsters if song is the paramount thing and little stuff like that. Now I feel they could have easily do that if song is such a big deal. You feel they could have probably set traps or something like that, right? Like ways to like distract them. Like okay, you see monster here, you throw a piece of big stone across, so you're getting monsters to run. So little shit like that. I, that didn't seem to cross their mind. I couldn't follow if that was the case. Anyway, I enjoyed the movie for what it was. It's very entertaining. That whole sequence with the staircase is brilliant. I thought.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that
Mm.
was just so good. It's just how it played out. And I remember because everything was so quiet. I remember the entire audience yeah, all of them ball out with it when I seen it in theaters that time.
Mhm.
It was so funny. But yeah, it was great. I thought everybody was good in it. They got I think an actual deaf girl for the daughter, right? She's actually deaf if I remember correctly.
Yeah. That would be Millicent Simmons,
Right.
who
Yeah,
returns.
yeah.
Yeah. She
Yeah,
she
yeah.
is deaf.
Yeah, yeah, and they make it work for what it is. And yeah, it's just everybody get it. As I say, everybody on the same page with the material, and it works. Very few complaints about it conceptually. Just the little normal dopey moments. Hey, you could have do this a little different. Whatever. Normal horror movie bullshit. So
Yeah.
I don't have any major like complaints as it was. Um, as it is. But that's it. I remember enjoying it a lot. It was good atmosphere. Yeah, and well, we're going to the sequel now. I thought this was a solid sequel. I didn't hate it at all.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, same here too.
Yeah.
So just kind of just giving a brief summary of what it's about, and then we share thoughts, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
basically it just follows right after where the first movie stops off.
Yeah.
So we see the Abbott family basically, right? Well, without the patriarch, right? Because yeah, John Krasinski's character died because he
Yeah.
he sacrificed his life basically to save
Right.
his son and daughter, right?
Yeah.
The daughter being Regan, who's played by Millicent. She is deaf, as I said before, and Marcus, who is played by Noah, right? And with this one now, well, the mom, who's played by Emily Blunt, they just kind of, well, basically moving around, and they eventually run into a group of survivors, and one of the survivors, who's played by yeah, Cillian Murphy, right?
Or Killian Murphy, I can't remember.
I believe
You
it's
know,
Killian. We
yeah,
say Cillian, but I think it's Killian, right? If you
Killian
got
Murphy.
the maiden name wrong, forgive us, right? Whatever. Yeah, so
Right.
he's one of the survivors as well too, and there's a great opening sequence where it's shown that yeah, actually he knows Emily's character Evelyn, right? They have a history, right? Basically it's her husband's friend, right?
Right.
And yeah, basically he finds out that there's a signal coming from an island, so he's heading off there. But Regan decides that she's gonna tag along with Emmett basically. Oh, sorry, I like she actually goes off on her own, and he kind of reluctantly goes after her because it's a dangerous world out there, right?
Right.
In the meantime, though, Marcus is seriously injured now, so he has to stay back in this compound area where the survivors are. His mom is taking care of him, but of course, in the world of a quiet place, even though you're indoors, these creatures now they still find a way to get inside, right? So yeah, she has to deal with that as well too. So I do agree with you though. This was a solid sequel, and when it comes to
Yeah.
horror films, especially when you have that part two, like when you say part two, you really had to bring your A game with this one now.
Right.
And this one felt it's sort of similar to like The Conjuring 2, and like Halloween 2, for example, where like they have a bigger budget, they have a bigger canvas, so it basically feels like the same old same. Like they just kind of copy and paste, but they just have a bigger budget so they could do more and tell more. The
Right.
opening sequence, where slight spoiler, is the only time you really do see John Krasinski. I thought was fantastic, though the way how it was set up
Yeah.
and what. They do keep the whole the existence or the identity, whatever, of the aliens. They still have this mystery box aspect about
Right.
them. Sorry.
Which I don't mind. Which I don't mind
Yeah.
for something like that because like in that's the whole thing with stuff like that. Good storytelling. To me, with stuff like this, the idea of you being the one to solve the problem
Yeah.
is nonsense. To me, the idea of just sheer survival makes more sense. Don't solve the problem. I hate that shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
don't make any sense. Yeah.
And I do like the fact that we have more dialogue, right? Because yeah, I forgot
Right.
that a majority of the first film, like I actually forgot that a majority of it was,
Well,
just done in sign language.
yeah.
You
But
know,
that was the style of the first film. I mean, that was the old style. It's like, all right, it's all about song design and this whole, no song is actual type of song. That bullshit. It's just that, right? And I didn't hate that at all. I was like, yeah, it's a gimmick. They run with the gimmick. They make it work. The
yeah,
second
yeah, yeah.
one, I actually was kind of annoyed that it had this much talk in it. I thought it would have had less, to be honest, than the first one, because I thought they would have
Okay.
focused on the daughter. I thought they would have focused on the daughter more. That's what I was
Yeah.
expecting. So the only thing that kind of hold back the film a little bit for me. Not a big problem. It's like whatever. But they
Okay. Okay.
decided to have a lot of this. Oh, we need to explain this. We need to talk about this. And like, we didn't need that though. Whatever.
Right.
Small
Right.
thing.
I understand.
Yeah.
Understand.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Millicent's, Millicent herself, the actress,
Right.
I thought that she was great in this though.
Yeah.
She
You do.
she, she
Yeah.
has a future as far as not seeing post-apocalyptic movies, but just have that screen presence and whatnot. I love
Yeah.
how strong and resourceful she was, and yeah, she set that up from the first film, huh? But she was even more that way in this one. Basically because yeah, they have to move on from the fact that her dad died. If I just
Right.
have a few gripes though, I felt like, because this one started immediately afterwards, there wasn't really like a moment or, like, I'm not saying a bunch of moments, but just like a couple where you really feel the loss, like just how, the
No,
rest of the family
they
feels now, you
yeah,
just
no,
kind of
they
mentioned it here or there,
I find they overdo that a little bit. It's like, yeah, okay, I get all them missing the part about what chill out now. Like
Yeah.
it's like it's John Krasinski just real, kind of jacking himself off a little bit on this. Like,
Oh,
look, it's your story, but chill out there. Like,
yeah.
really? Yeah,
What I would say though, like what I wish they didn't do is have, like there's literally a moment where Evelyn, right, that's Emily's character,
yeah,
kind of chastises Emmett and tell him like, oh, well, you kind of don't
yeah,
really measure up to my husband. It's like, come
yeah.
on,
It's like,
man.
well,
Like, it's not like
well,
he
yeah,
was
no
some
shit.
big hero. Like, all he
And
just do is he just protected his family the best he
right,
could. It's not like it's not like Walking Dead, which I'll bring up a little bit later, where
right.
he like established some community and he kept everyone safe. He kept his family safe. That's all. Like, why are you trying to compare the people to him? You know what I mean?
No, it's understandable. I mean, I get it kind of, but I still find it overdo it. Like, it's like really, that dig, but I get it. Like, it's whatever. It makes sense. Like, it's not like it's
Yeah,
something that don't make any sense. Because it's like, yeah, if you're in a situation like that where you just share trauma and terror all the time, a patriarch will stick with you. I mean, that's kind of pretty much human history, right? So, like,
yeah,
it makes sense. Like, to me, the psychology of it makes a lot of sense. But I find it was still a little too much. Like, oh god,
right.
you keep hammering on about this man, good enough.
Yeah.
Well,
I kind of didn't like the fact, and I don't know if it's just a trope with sequels. Not all sequels, but just some sequels, right? I would say like Godfather Part Two, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, where you kind of have to divide the film into two. So we have two stories going on. In this case, is Emmett and Reagan, sorry, going to this island, and we have
right.
Evelyn and Marcus trying to stay safe in this place, right? I felt like, because of what happened with the father, the family could have just like stuck together, and I didn't like the whole splitting them apart and having them
Right.
go through their own missions. I felt they could have just been united, and it would have hammered the point of moving on from the father, but it would have been so much powerful now. And last thing,
Yeah.
this is just a concern of mine, is the way how it ends. And
Right.
I would say not just the way how it ends, but just the world that they establish. Now that they bring in more characters, right? I'm getting a Walking Dead vibe of it. I mean, that's just
Not too much. Yeah.
right off the bat, right? But I feel like even like especially the way how this ends and how things play out. I mean, also how the last film play out now. I'm getting a sort of a episodic vibe to things. So
Well, yeah, it's one again.
yeah,
They
which
had a,
kind of have a concern now.
yeah. Well, yeah. When I see the end, it's like, oh god, they had to sell a show, right? Clearly,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they want to
So
they sell it. They're selling the pilot, right?
yeah, so
Um,
so so for me, one sec. So for me, like because I watch the shows back to back now, it does feel like you're watching a series play out, and this is probably the halfway mark, right? Before we
right.
see what happens next. Well, I don't know if we're gonna get a third one. I think we should. Actually, the second one wasn't even supposed to be, but I think that John. That's why John wasn't really in it that much now. But I think it was just some circumstances and studio stuff was just like, well, all right, fine, I'll do it. I'll do it again. All right, cool, fine, whatever, right? But just the way how it just kind of wraps up is just like, all right, so okay, so it is gonna have more shows and it is gonna have this sort of episodic feel, and like when the whole franchise ends, it's almost like I just watch a full season of a show. All
Yeah.
right, I don't know, it's just kind of weird. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't go like I really have doubts in terms of how this sort of episodic route will go. But again, I guess it's just the nature of the subgenre. It's post-apocalyptic, so it's not like every movie or whatever it is have to end with some big reveal. Like we have to know how to stop the creatures, or we're getting this close to stopping the apocalypse, whatever it is. It's just it's still there. We get from point A to point B. Well, if you think we're gonna get to point C, just tune in next time and see what happens next. So,
Right.
so that's the vibe I get with this one here. So again, I just a little concern of the direction of where this franchise is going, basically, right? But all in all, though, I mean, it gives us the goods. I mean, the strong direction from John Krasinski. The same tense dark score from Marco Beltrami is still there. The cinematography is great. Sound design is fantastic, and of course, the creatures are terrifying, and you get some great
Yeah.
moments with them. One involving a leak. That's all I'll say. I thought that
Yeah.
moment was fantastic. I
That's a
loved it.
good. That's a good scene. Yeah.
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 So, in closing, still not the biggest fan of A Quiet Place, right? The franchise.
Yeah.
But I know
Um.
fans of the first one will absolutely love this and they'll put it in the best of. I wouldn't put it as a best of at the moment, but I'll put it as an honorable mention, I would say right now. But I just like the first one, I do see myself like going back to it, and I have a feeling that the more I watch these films, the more I appreciate the technique as opposed to the story and where it's supposed to go. I think I'll enjoy it more, right? Before
Right.
it's with I'm feeling a strong 3.5 to like 4, man. I think that this is worth checking out. This is one honestly I'd have loved to see on the big screen, but I had to watch it in my house with my sound bar, so I guess maybe that's why I didn't really appreciate it as much as I should have. But
Right.
it works as a sequel. I still iffy about where the franchise is gonna go. Like, is it gonna are we going to see the full destruction of these aliens? Are we gonna at
Right.
least understand where they come from or why? Or is it just, well, all that doesn't matter. It's all about survival, y'all. So hey, but we'll see, we'll see. But Krasinski's on a roll with this one, and I'm not saying that he should just make horror films the rest of his life. Sorry, but I can't wait to see what he does next, man. So yeah, Ricardo, your review of the film and Rico.
Yeah. Yeah. As I said, it's a franchise. I don't love it like you do. It's just competent a horror, competent horror thriller film that works for the most part. It's a good enough premise. They switch it up enough, and mostly the problem is my only issue with the sequel is that it doesn't lean on the well, for lack of a better term, the gimmick of the first film, which is the whole sound thing, right? You're not supposed to be nobody talking. Here's why, right? And they come up with a good reason as to why. Yeah, I dug it for what it was as a sequel. It's fine. As I said, little sequel bait. I'm really sure. He like you want to sell it to CBS later or something like that. But I dug it. Yeah, 7 out of 10. It's fine.
Yeah, as you bring up CBS now, I'm now wondering if the plan is to make a series out of this because
Yeah,
it
that's
really
what it
does
looks
feel
like.
like it should be a series, man. Like I love the
No,
fact
but
that
much
we've
like
seen it in theaters and we can't eat popcorn loud with our mouths open and whatnot. But still, like, I don't know, just the direction where it's going, I feel like it should be formatted for well, just using the code, formatted for TV, man. So
it's kind of like the Purge films. The mere scenario itself lends for a series, and I have always me I have been on the train of making miniseries out of everything, right? I find the idea of a movie you can't really fit a proper story in 2.5 hours. I always said this, and this is one of those things that you could do. Same thing with the Purge. The Purge is like that, right? The Purge totally deserves a series, and that's what they did for a little while, right? And then they made some movies, but they still did a series because the paradigm and the nature of the storyline more rely on you having to do that. Well, it's fine. Um, that's what they did with it, and I wouldn't be surprised if you hear a year from now, whenever it says announcing for fourth quarter 2022. Quiet Place, and yeah, well, they're gonna do that
yeah.
maybe. Whatever.
But last thing last though, where I see the franchise going, like if they decide to do a trilogy, I think that it will revolve more around Emily Blunt because I'd
Right.
admit I felt, or at least I felt going in that it was going to be about her. It was going to be mostly about her and her dealing with the fact that her husband died now. But no, they just kind of let Millicent do a thing, which is fine, right? I
Right.
know there's some stuff behind the scenes, but I do have a feeling that if it's a trilogy or whatever, the last film is gonna center a lot on
Right.
on Emily and where the future
Right.
is for her and her kids.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, in time we will see. Well, definitely we will get a sequel. The question is just when, right? So yeah, we'll see. All right, and also in terms of films that we could have seen theatrically, and I could have talked about, but the hiatus happened. Luca, right? This is the
Right.
newest Pixar animated film. Well, Ricardo, well, if you don't mind, I just want you to do like just a run through of what the movie is about.
Right. So it's this kid called, well, presumably Luca, who's a kind of person, child, kind of weird race thing. You're really sure going on. Basically they're living off the coast of Italy, but it's this southern Italian tongue. I can't remember which tongue it was exactly. Um, but it's generic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's called Porto Rosso, right? Which is
But right,
a
right,
reference to the Hayao Miyazaki film, right?
right, right.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I was about to get to that.
Oops. Sorry.
Yeah, but right. So I couldn't remember the name of the tongue exactly, but yeah,
Okay.
okay. Um, but yeah, it's just this kid who kind of wants to, leave town. He want to explore shit and kind of bored, and his family telling him to not go, but his grandmother kind of cheeky and she just go outside and become a thing. And well, for some reason or the other, when they leave the water, they look like humans, and when they underwater, they look like more people. And then well, the tongue has a kind of weird kind of fascination against them simply because they're effectively folklore creatures as far as the tongue is concerned, and they treat them as like outcasts and dangerous and whatnot. And that's the general premise. The boy, he meets another person who has been out of the tongue for a while. He learn later why that's the reason. And yeah, that's pretty much it. These two mer boys, running around Italy with a Vespa, right? And they encounter all kind of shenanigans and the arcs of characters and who bouncing around with who. And then they meet this girl who's kind of a third wheel, but she still works as a character, I find. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And yeah, to mention Hayao Miyazaki, it felt like a Hayao Miyazaki film. Not kind of aimless, a little bit like that, but still good. Like I enjoyed for what it was. Not it didn't have the same Pixar focus formula. It was more slice of life-ish and just backgrounds and the town and how they live, and then they get arc kind of later. But there's you don't really care about the arc, to be honest. In my opinion, at least I didn't. So yeah, that's about it. I didn't feel any old how about it. The main villain didn't really work for me, but I get why they did it like that. Um, I didn't really care for this character. That was the Vespa guy in the beginning. He's kind of annoying, but I get why he is what he is. And he's kind of, I like that it does keep him as always an asshole. He didn't have a shitty backstory or anything like that. It's like, oh no,
Mm.
he's just asshole. Like I like that. Like yeah, finally we get a villain like that. He's just straight up a villain. He's not that bad. He's not evil. Just an asshole. They make it work. Yeah, I dug it for what it was. Some people read a kind of subtle key subtext into it. I didn't really read that at all, to be honest. But I get why people are saying that because it really
Yeah.
reminiscent of Call Me by Your Name. So I
Yeah.
suppose some people could pull from that if they wanted to for that side of the audience. So I don't know if that was again. I couldn't really tell if this was intentional or not. But if you read it into it, that's fine. But yeah, I dug it for what it was. It felt like an extended Pixar short. It didn't have Lucas, but it's not as bad as the typical kind of Pixar sequels. It's not bad. It's different. I won't say it's bad. Like it doesn't feel like peak Pixar where Pixar was at the height, but it didn't. It wasn't meant to do that. Like it just tells its story and makes it good for what it is. Yeah. So that's about it.
Yeah, well, I agree with you for the most part. It's light, it's
Yeah.
not just light-hearted, but light in terms of themes and just how it's executed and whatnot, right? It's
Right.
not heavy in terms of emotion and trying to talk to adults about life and existentialism, like say
Yeah.
a Inside Out or Soul. It's not like that. It's
Yeah.
very
Exactly.
breezy. It's very it's a summertime film, and it's clearly for kids. You know what I mean? Not just because the leads are kids. You know what I mean? Well, the main characters are kids, but just because of the vibe of it, right? It's a very bright, very colorful looking film. It's a feast for the eyes, actually, and you could tell
Yeah. It
that
looks great. Yeah.
yeah, it's a love letter to to Italy, right? I didn't pick up on the exact era that it was based in. I know it's not in modern day, right?
Well, it looked like
But
it looked like the I don't know. For me, I given the only technology I could follow is the Vespa itself. So like when the Vespa came out in 1950s, science show. I want to say it's the 50s.
I
So
don't know. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But you're right though. Well, as we mentioned, it has, it is very Hayao Miyazaki inspired, right down to the name of the town, which is a reference to the film Porco Rosso,
yeah,
sorry, right?
right,
But I was picking up on Federico Fellini, his style of
yes,
films, where it's always about the town and just the townspeople and how kooky they are, you know what I mean, and how
right,
lively and colorful they all are, and they have different personalities, and it seems all different and weird, but the more you spend in this town, basically, the more you grow to love these characters, right? Um, and I mean, like story wise, it's nothing, overly, complex or whatnot.
right.
And that's the point of it. You know what I mean? Again, it's just designed to be breezy and just kind of put you in this sunny vibe, basically, right? I know for some people they might just be, a little disappointed, like, what, Pixar's known for this top quality. Why they giving us this sort of like crap, man? Like, come on, man, you should have done
Right.
more, right? And I would admit, though, I do kind of understand and I kind of feel a bit, I do agree in a bit. Um, like I felt like there weren't really any real stakes to it. It was just these two
Right.
kids and
Yeah.
they have to do a race and the winner
Right.
gets a Vespa. Okay, all right. Right.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
villain, Ukuli, right? That's his name, right? That's the
Yeah.
bully, the asshole. Um, as much as I was hated on him because of how douchey he was, I don't
Yeah,
know. It's just something so funny about him, the way how he looks, the way how he
yeah,
talks.
yeah. He doesn't
He
have,
just picks on
yeah,
these kids for no reason.
yeah. He's just a goofy goofball. Like he's not evil, you know. Like I don't think he was like, wait, this man's a real. Like you don't hate on him. He's not evil. Just say like, he's a goof.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And also I felt, well, this is kind of like a minor nitpick though, but again, and I know the target audience is kids, right? But at least they kind of just take a little time to kind of explain, the whole. All right, when I'm in the water, a
that,
merman slash sea
yeah,
monster, whatever. When I come out on land, I'm automatically human. Okay, not saying that they have to give us some, long ago in the ages or whatever, right? That explain where these creatures come from. But it would hurt to at least kind of mention, how these characters do what they do and how they survive, basically, right? Just
right,
just a little bit so we kind of get a sense, right? But other than that, though, yeah, this is a love letter to like Italian cinema. It's even right down to having these Italian songs play throughout, basically. I
yes,
love the fact, similar to like the Fellini films, for example, or just French films, especially the ones that we've seen like from the 60s and whatnot, where you always have these movie posters stuck on the wall. So if you look
right,
closely, you'll see La Strada, right? You know what I mean?
right,
A movie that we saw when we were studying film, right? Stuff like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea or 2,000 Leagues
right.
Under the Sea, sorry, right? So you just see like these little nods basically to like old school cinema. So I really dug that. I thought that the voice acting was fine, man. Jacob Tremblay, Jack
Right.
Dylan Greaser, they were fine as well. Of course, what I mean, they're not gonna speak full, fluent Italian, of course, right? Every so often they will throw a little thing there. Um, actually, like the Gil Gila,
Yes.
whatever her name is. Yeah, I thought that she was a nice fit, and yeah, she is the third wheel basically. Okay, yeah, it is about Luca and Alberto. That's their names, and their
Yes.
relationship and all that kind of stuff. And where they go with it, there's actually like one moment though where I was like, God damn, but that was like a stab to the heart, but like Jesus, something that Luca does to Alberto Dread. I wouldn't say what
Yes.
it is, right? But that hurt though. And where it ends up was really nice. It was really nice.
Yeah.
I dug the side characters as well too. Like I dug Luca's mom and dad. The moment I heard Maya Rudolph's voice, I was like, yeah, that's it.
She
That's it. Like
playing,
as soon as you see
yeah,
the freckles,
play,
it's
yeah,
like, yeah,
playing
that's Maya.
animated mom. It's
Yeah,
like what?
again,
It's like her sixth animated mom in 5 years or whatever.
you know. I was surprised to hear Sacha Baron Cohen, who played
Right.
the Uncle Ugo. I felt we could have got a
Yeah.
little bit more of
One of
him
one
though,
of my
because I like how weird
yeah
and he
one of my
was.
yeah Jim Gaffigan was great in this. I really liked him. I'm a
Yeah,
big fan of his comedy. Yeah.
yeah,
This is
he,
his
he
dad.
played
Yeah.
Luca's dad. Yeah, I just like how much of a lovable goofball he is as well too. So, it's just lighthearted fun, right? And
Right.
I know for some diehard Pixar fans, they will come out of it like wanting more, like just wanting more substance. Even I myself at times was like, yeah, but the Pixar quality, man. Even as something as simplistic as this, there could have been a little bit more
Right.
substance, more meat to things that not just
Right.
well, it's just a race that we have to win and we have to keep our identity secret because the
Right.
townspeople hate sea monsters, right? But still, because of the vibe of it, I was like, it's fine, right? So no, it's not gonna be like one. It's not like one of the best Pixar films out there. Nor do I think honestly that Pixar was going out of the way to make another classic. It was just, hey,
Exactly.
this guy, this new director, his name is Enrico Casarosa. This is his
Right.
feature. This is like his debut. Sorry, this is the story he want to make. So yeah, let me make it. You know what I mean? But I know for some they might look at it as, oh, this is just like a placeholder for the next epic, heart
Right.
tugging, Pixar film. But
And then,
no, I mean,
well, the other thing worth mentioning quick just before we finish is the short that they had accompany it. That was great too. I thought this well, I think this is what the short would have been in theaters. But I just saw it on Disney Plus as a short separate. This was the dancing couple, black woman
oh,
and
I skipped. I didn't see that one.
yeah, I
But it
thought
was
that
good.
was
It was
that
good.
was yeah, nice little short, little cute short they just have. Little 5 minutes something. And it was great. I thought it was nice. It's like a magic rainstorm that make them young. So there's dancing and then the rainstorm going, so they're dancing while the rainstorm moving along the tongue. Yeah, that's it.
Okay,
That was the whole
okay,
thing.
okay.
Yeah, it's,
All
it's,
right.
it's nice. And then they get back home, they
Yeah,
can't dance again because that's it, they're done.
yeah,
It's touching. They get one more
yeah.
shot in life. Yeah,
it does sound really really touching. But
yeah,
yeah, man. I mean, for what it is, it's nice, it's warm. You know, what I mean, it's lighthearted. Flair. So, I mean, if you're just looking for if you're looking for something more emotionally heavy from Pixar, then yeah, you're probably going to be disappointed by this, right? But if and I would give Pixar and Disney points for releasing this right at summertime, right? Because yeah, this is a summer film. This is what it's designed to be, right? I'm not sure of its longevity. I'm not sure if people are gonna look back and be like, well, this movie was actually really good, and we kind of give it a hard time, man. But this is actually a classic. I can't see that for sure. Nor will
right.
I say that this is one of the worst films, right? It probably wouldn't be like I say, it's not a best of Pixar film, right? But it's fine for what it is, right? So rating
Yeah,
wise, I'm gonna give this strong 3 to a very light 3.5 out of 5, man. I say it's worth checking out though, especially if you're just looking for something breezy and warm to watch for summer. This is gonna be a family favorite, and yeah, I mean kids are gonna enjoy this one. For adults
right.
too, like who just kind of love the Pixar with some thought and depth and emotion. They're not gonna get here, and more likely they're gonna be disappointed by that. But I would say, I mean, it is what it is, man. So it's not like what I mean. Like every Pixar film going forward is gonna be of this quality. You're gonna get the hits, man. You're gonna get the punches the gut. You're gonna get the ones that are gonna bring all the man tears out here or whatnot. But I mean, nah, this one is what it is, man. So I mean, yeah, check it out, man. So last words on Rita and Luca.
Yeah, just as I said, it feels like a good Disney or Pixar short, but a little too long in the tooth for it. It feels like that, like it could have been that, but decided to make it a full story. But I dug it for what it was. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I give it like another 7 out of 10. It's fine. Just quick run through for it. That I was, to be honest, I was kind of bored with it halfway through it, but again, because it was a little longer than it could have been, as it is. So that's about it.
Yeah, we're just seeing a look by the way, because this movie is 1.5.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.